make it at least informative and at least interesting. And when we showed a video to our friends, everybody agreed it was probably one of the most boring programs we'd ever seen in our lives.
A man walks up to another man's wife and tells her husband that she's pregnant with his child. The husband immediately files for divorce, citing adultery. This sounds like something straight out of a television drama, but this actually happened. And the man at the center of the scandal is someone who has spent decades telling other people they're not good enough on national television. Simon Cowell has crushed the dreams of thousands of hopeful singers. He's made contestants cry on stage. He's been called cruel, heartless, and the most hated man in entertainment. Yet somehow, that same man now sits on a fortune worth $550 million. He owns mansions on 3 continents. His car collection alone is worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. And the woman from that scandal, she's now his wife. But here's what most people don't know. Before Simon Cowell became the face of brutal honesty on television, he was a college dropout who couldn't hold down a job. He failed so badly at his first business that it completely collapsed. And the only reason he got his foot in the door of the music industry was because his father pulled strings to get him a job in a mailroom. So, how did a man who started sorting mail become powerful enough to create superstars like One Direction and decide who gets famous? What does his life actually look like behind the cutting remarks and the expensive suits? And what happened in his personal life that nearly destroyed everything he built? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how Simon Cowell built his empire, why his $25 million Malibu mansion is just one piece of his real estate puzzle, and how a man who makes people cry for a living became a devoted family man. This is the complete story of Simon Cowell. Simon Philip Cowell entered the world on October 7, 1959 in Lambeth, London. His family was solidly middle class, nothing extraordinary on the surface, but the people who raised him would plant seeds that would eventually grow into an entertainment empire. His mother, Julie Brett, was a professional ballet dancer and a well-known socialite of her era. She brought an artistic sensibility to the household that Simon would later channel into his understanding of performance and star quality. His father, Eric Cowell, wore many hats throughout his career. He worked as a music industry executive, dabbled in real estate, and invested in property development. The entertainment business was literally in Simon's blood. The family eventually settled in the peaceful village of Elstree in Hertfordshire, a far cry from the bustling London streets where Simon was born. He grew up alongside his younger brother Nicholas, and had 3 stepbros and a stepsister from his father's previous relationships. It was a full house, and Simon learned early how to stand out in a crowd. His educational path took him through Radlett Preparatory School and later Dover College, before landing at Windsor Technical College. He managed to pass his exams in English, literature, and sociology, but academics were never really his thing. Simon had bigger ambitions, even if he didn't quite know what they were yet. After leaving school, Simon drifted. He bounced between small jobs, never quite finding his footing. His father arranged interviews for him, but Simon showed little interest and had a difficult time getting along with people. He seemed destined for mediocrity. Then everything changed when his father secured him a position in the mail room at EMI Music Publishing. It wasn't glamorous. Simon spent his days sorting letters and running errands. But for the first time in his life, he was surrounded by music and something clicked. He worked his way up from that mail room until he became an assistant to an A&R executive by 1979. He was finally in the game. In 1985, Simon decided he was ready to be his own boss. He partnered with a colleague named Ian Burton to launch Fanfare Records. The following year, they scored their first real hit when Simon produced a song called So Macho, performed by American singer Sunita. For a moment, it looked like Simon had figured it all out. But success is rarely a straight line. By 1989, Fanfare Records had collapsed. The company couldn't sustain itself, and Simon found himself back at square one. He was 30 years old. His business had failed, and he had nothing to show for years of work. Most people would have taken this as a sign to pursue something safer. Most people would have accepted defeat. Simon saw it as a lesson. He wasn't done with the music industry. The music industry wasn't done with him either. BMG came calling with an offer to work as an A&R consultant. Simon accepted, and this time he approached his work differently. He wasn't just looking for good singers anymore. He was looking for stars. The BMG years taught Simon Cowell something crucial about the entertainment business. Talent matters, but packaging talent matters more. He produced music for everything from World Wrestling Federation events to the Power Rangers franchise. These weren't prestigious projects, but they made money, and they taught Simon how to identify what audiences actually wanted. His instincts paid off spectacularly in 1995 when he produced a cover of Unchained Melody. The song dominated UK radio stations and sat at the #1 position for 7 consecutive weeks. Simon Cowell was no longer just another music executive. He was someone who could create hits. The new millennium brought an opportunity that would transform Simon's entire career trajectory. In 2001, he was invited to join a new British television program called Pop Idol as a judge. The show's premise was simple. Ordinary people would compete for a recording contract while a panel of judges evaluated their performances. What nobody expected was how Simon would approach the role. While other judges offered encouragement and constructive feedback, Simon said exactly what he thought. If someone couldn't sing, he told them. If their performance was boring, he didn't pretend otherwise. Audiences had never seen anything like it on television. His signature phrase became legendary. He would often preface his harshest critiques by saying he didn't mean to berate before delivering devastating assessments that left contestants speechless. Viewers couldn't look away. They tuned in specifically to see what Simon would say next. Love him or hate him, everyone had an opinion about Simon Cowell. But Simon wasn't just collecting a paycheck as a judge. He was playing a longer game. Through his own venture, S Records, he signed both the winners and runners-up of Pop Idol competitions. Artists like Gareth Gates and Will Young went on to dominate the UK charts, and Simon profited from both sides of the equation. He was the judge who determined who won, and he was the businessman who profited from their success. In 2002, American producers took notice. They brought Simon across the Atlantic to serve as a judge on American Idol. His brutal honesty translated perfectly for American audiences who were hungry for authenticity in an era of Polish television personalities. Simon became an international celebrity, but he still wasn't satisfied with just being a judge in someone else's show. In 2002, he founded Psycho Entertainment, a company that would handle music production, television development, and film projects. 2 years later, he created the X Factor, a talent competition format that he owned and controlled entirely. The X Factor became a global phenomenon. It launched in the UK, then spread to Australia, the United States, and dozens of other countries. Simon brought in celebrity judges like Demi Lovato, Britney Spears, and Kelly Rowland. He won awards for his mentorship after his contestants claimed top positions. He wasn't just finding talent anymore. He was manufacturing fame on an industrial scale. Then came America's Got Talent in 2006. This show expanded beyond singers to include magicians, comedians, dancers, and performers of every variety. It attracted over 12 million viewers and eventually spread to more than 70 countries worldwide. Simon Cowell had become the most powerful talent broker in entertainment history. The crown jewel of Simon's talent factory emerged on the X Factor stage in 2010. 5 young men who had auditioned as solo artists were grouped together and given a second chance as a band. Their name was One Direction. Under Simon's guidance, they became one of the best-selling boy bands in music history with a fan base that spanned the globe. His ability to spot and cultivate talent had reached its ultimate expression. And all of that success was about to translate into a lifestyle that most people can only dream about. All oft-host chart-topping artists and record-breaking television shows translated into something very tangible for Simon Cowell. Money, lots of it. His net worth now sits at an estimated $550 million. And he spends it with the same boldness he brings to his television commentary. His London residence sits in the exclusive Holland Park neighborhood, an area where even modest homes cost millions. Simon's mansion is estimated to be worth $20 million and features amenities that most people only see in movies. The property includes a private gym where he works out without the hassle of public spaces, a swimming pool for relaxation, and a dedicated cinema room where he can watch films in complete comfort. But London is just one piece of his real estate portfolio. In 2017, Simon purchased a stunning property in Malibu, California for $25 million. This oceanfront estate spans 1.6363 acres and includes 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and floor-to-ceiling glass windows that frame breathtaking views of the Pacific Ocean. Outside, there's a plunge pool, hot tub, barbecue area, and a koi pond for those quiet moments of reflection. When Simon wants a true escape from the demands of his entertainment empire, he retreats to his beachfront property in Barbados. This Caribbean paradise offers private beach access and the kind of seclusion that money can buy, but fame often prevents. Then there's the car collection. Simon Cowell has spent over $10 million assembling an automotive portfolio that would make any enthusiast jealous. His Rolls-Royce Phantom, custom painted in jet black, costs around $500,000 and remains one of the most prestigious vehicles on the road. The interior features leather and wood accents that define pure luxury. His Ferrari 458, purchased in 2012 for approximately $200,000, represents Italian engineering at its finest. The Lamborghini Gallardo Spitter in his garage features a 513 horsepower engine and costs around $22,000. There's also a Bentley Arnage that set him back $230,000 along with an Aston Martin DB9, a Ferrari 360, and a classic Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3. Perhaps the most impressive vehicle Simon ever owned was his Bugatti Veyron, a hypercar that represented the absolute pinnacle of automotive engineering. In 2014, he sold it at auction for $1.25 million and donated the proceeds to charity. Even Simon's car sales benefit others. His vacations match the extravagance of his possessions. Simon regularly charters superyachts along the French Riviera and throughout the Caribbean, particularly around his beloved Barbados. These floating palaces cost approximately $450,000 per week and come equipped with helipads, swimming pools, hot tubs, and suites that rival five-star hotels. When he's not on the water, Simon retreats to high-end European spare sorts where a single night can cost $25,000. These annual getaways have become sacred times spent with his family. A chance to recharge before returning to the spotlight. His wardrobe reflects the same attention to quality. Simon invests over $500,000 annually in custom matisuits from designers like Bottega Veneta and Tom Ford. His signature look includes dozens of custom black jackets, each valued at $10,000 or more. The aviator sunglasses he's rarely seen without come from luxury brands like Cartier and Bulgari. Fine dining is another indulgence. Simon frequents Michelin-starred restaurants in London and Los Angeles where chefs' tasting menus feature beluga caviar, white truffles, and imported Japanese Wagyu beef. These meals are accompanied by rare champagne vintages, and the final bill often exceeds $10,000 per sitting. But all the money in the world couldn't buy Simon what he wanted most. And the story of how he found it would nearly cost him everything. For all his professional success, Simon Cowell's personal life has been far more complicated. The story of how he met his wife, Lauren Silverman, reads like a tabloid headline because for years, that's exactly what it was. Simon and Lauren first crossed paths in 2004 at the Sandy Lane Resort in Barbados. At the time, both of them were with other people. Lauren was married to Andrew Silverman, a successful New York real estate developer. Their meeting was innocent enough, but something sparked between them that would eventually ignite into scandal. The two didn't officially begin dating until 2009, and for several years, their relationship remained relatively private. Then, in 2013, everything exploded. Andrew Silverman discovered that Lauren was pregnant, and the child wasn't his, it was Simon's. The divorce filing made international headlines. Andrew cited adultery as the grounds for ending his marriage. And suddenly, Simon Cowell, the man who had spent years judging others on television, found himself being judged by the entire world. The tabloids had a field day. Commentators questioned his character. It was the kind of scandal that destroys careers, but Simon handled it the same way he handles everything else.